Yeah, RUF roadblock, and then to my left, I could see the campfire.
Campfire.
So I'm sitting here for like 20 minutes just taking out scavs, and they're like shooting me in the glass and stuff. And then eventually I see a guy run down to the campfire and he's just crouching, sitting there, and I'm just like, oh my god, this is it. This is my opportunity. And boom, headshot. I'm like, oh dude, that felt so dirty, but I got the shooter board. Welcome to ScavTalk, an escape from Tarkov podcast with a continuing focus on development of the game, patch note analysis, theory crafting, and general gameplay discussions. My name is Church. I'm one of your hosts. I am a video editor for a content creator named Airwing Marine.
I'm GigaBeef, a Tarkov YouTuber, helping you guys get better at the game. And welcome to, I think last week I said it was the last ScavTalk of 2021. I was
You
wrong
did.
because because it was a Sunday and then this one's a Friday. So it is the 31st of December. But I guess when everyone's listening to it, it'll actually be 2022. So
Yeah.
it kind of is the last one, maybe sort of not the last one. I don't know. However you want to categorize it. But how's your week been, Judge? What's been going on in your world?
Pretty good, man. Staying busy, staying busy. Doing the old YouTube editing grind as they do these things. I don't know what I'm saying.
Yeah, you guys have been super, super busy, honestly. Like I've seen all the content that Erwin's been pumping out. It's been absolutely insane.
Yeah. It's a fun time. It's actually pretty crazy because we hit 500, no, sorry, 50K subs and 500 subs. That'd be insane. 50K subs on YouTube. And I mean, just the wipe, Star of the Wipe just brings in so many more eyes to everyone, honestly. And yeah, it's great. And then we had drops. His drops day was yesterday, and that was insane. I think pretty crazy because the turnout was pretty impressive. Like I heard before he got rated, he was like at 2,000 viewers, and then he got rated by someone, and it bumped him up to like 4K.
Yeah, I think I saw him at like 3.5.
Yeah, crazy man. And he
It's
went the
honestly insane.
full 24 hours. I was like, dang, what a hero, dude. I don't think I would ever do. I've just heard like they just zap your life out. Like it's I've heard it's not worth it, but
I guess
it
like it's
is what it
funny. I
is.
was watching some of Pestely's stream just because it's kind of like have it on in the
Yeah.
background and you hear kind of what's been going on in general. And
Hmm.
it was his day anyway. And I think he was talking about how most content creators would probably prefer to have two separate drops for themselves on like 12-hour cycles or something because everyone kind of feels obliged to do 24 hours because you get like
Yeah.
a day of drops and it's just like, well, you don't really want to like waste the opportunity and you want people to
Right.
be there and the whole time and stuff. So yeah, but it's just like because everyone feels kind of compelled to do it, it's just not it's not really very healthy.
Yeah.
And but so many people do it because it's like, yeah, you
The
have it and you don't
opportunity.
want to like, yeah, you don't want to just like you don't want to waste it or whatever. Or you
For
feel like
sure.
you need to like maximize the opportunity. I mean, yeah, like I guess it's funny because I mentioned it like right at the end last time, so we'll talk about it right at the beginning this time because my day's on Thursday next week on the 6th, and I've been toying with it a bunch about like what to do and stuff, and like I
Hmm.
can't like it's like randomly like Thursday in the middle of the week and stuff. Like I can't I just don't think I can do 24 hour stream. I just don't think it's even like really practical. The problem
Yeah.
is it's not like I can do most of it. It's fine, and I've kind of like made some arrangements to kind of maximize it as much as possible. But the problem for me is like that like 2 a.m. to like 10 a.m. the following because like so it's all based around I think it's like is it like 1 p.m. Moscow I think is like the timing like day to day something like that, but that translates back to like 10 a.m. for me.
Okay.
And so the issue there is that like I can't just like in the US you could finish like a late one whatever and like you start like really early and then you finish at like 5 a.m. the following day and then you like crash
Right.
and sort of have a normal day. For me like the final push is like 2 in the morning till like 10 a.m., which is like really awful because it like
Yeah.
it's just like horribly straddles over 2 days.
Right.
And it just doesn't really work. So I don't think I'm going to be on the whole time. I would
I don't
actually quite
blame
like
you.
to. I would like to try it, but
Yeah, for
I'm gonna go
sure.
like late into the evening here to try and capture as like much of the kind of US evening as possible, and then just like die and then have to like go about my usual business on Friday somehow, which is going to be how it's going to go. But it's going to be super exciting. I'm actually a little bit scared because I don't stream that much, and
Yeah,
like seeing all the numbers in people's channels, I'm just like, oh my god.
you'll be fine, dude.
Like it's actually nuts. Like I'll never have streamed for this long ever before. Like not even like it's
Hmm.
gonna be like over. It's gonna be like over. It's gonna be probably like 3 times as long as I've ever streamed in one go, and to like potentially way more people. Like it's gonna be nuts. But I'm super excited about it. It's gonna be really fun. And just like, yeah, it's just so good to see. There's a lot of, I know there's like server issues and stuff. It's just nice to see so much positivity in the Tarkov community. People enjoying themselves, people getting like crazy numbers and putting stuff up on Twitter afterwards, being like, dude, this is like super, super insane.
Yeah.
Because I mean, that's really what this week has been, right? This week has been drops. This is the drops week, and everyone's just been focused on drops and all of that. I mean, it's quite funny. Like in terms of the actual drops themselves, I think they've been quite lackluster. I think is the way
Y-
that the community's kind of seen
Well,
it. Because
I'm
yeah,
glad.
it depends. Yeah. I mean, I'm also glad because they didn't want to break the economy, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And give people like tons of good stuff. Maybe it went a bit too far the other way. I don't know, but I
Yeah,
think it's
yeah.
fine. I don't know. It's all right. People feel entitled to free stuff. So
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I got like I think I got a Scar L, a short one from one drop, which was like, okay. And I think I got like 3 H2Os. I haven't been like super on top of claiming drops. Like I think I saw there's like a Chrome extension that will like automatically claim the drops for you because it's kind of like
yeah,
you gotta sit there, wait, then you're once you're eligible for the first drop, because there's like 3 different tiers. I think there's like 3 commons, 3 rares, and 1 legendary, I want to say. And you have to like accumulate watch time. But once you get that watch time, then you have to claim it, otherwise it doesn't count towards the next drop, is my understanding. So, like I said, I haven't really been on top of it because just drops have never really been my type of thing. Um, except for some of like the Twitch pack of armor and Twitch headband. I like the cosmetic stuff because I think that's kind of cool. Like, especially if it was permanent. Like if you get like a permanent Twitch drops armband or something, I think that'd be pretty cool. But anywho, yeah, the dude, the servers were pretty rough there for a little bit. And I heard like Reddit was on fire too. The front
but
page
it's
was
on
just
fire the same as the Tarkov servers. Yeah.
which they did address, and um I thought it's a pretty good solution in my opinion. They put I don't know what you call it, like a queue time login to actually log into the game. Which
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
what was happening is people were getting their drops and they would immediately want to claim the drop. So they would try to log in. And especially during like peak hours, like 4 p.m. Eastern time in the US, like 5 p.m., like somewhere in that like time frame is kind of like peak hours. And there was so many like back end errors going on because I assume like I said, people were just trying to claim their drops. So there's like all this traffic going in on the back end servers. And people's inventory was getting deleted, dude. There was like people couldn't like buy anything. You would try to load a mag and it would take like 2 minutes and you would load a single mag and like it was a complete disaster. And then they implemented the login queue and it's like all of a sudden everything was like boom, like magic. Now granted, some people were in like a 20,000 queue, but at least once you got in, the servers were actually stable because people were crashing, people's inventories was getting scuffed. Like it was actually pretty bad. And from my understanding, it's like I said, it was just a back in there, not necessarily like Twitch drops is to blame, like Twitch is to blame or something.
I think it kind of came at like an unfortunate time because I think they actually had like a critical issue with one of their backend servers, like towards the beginning of Twitch
Oh,
drops, which sort of pushed everything back. So I don't think it was necessarily Twitch drops themselves, but I don't think that helped.
yeah.
Um, just with, as you say, tons of people just like logging in and that kind of stuff. What's funny, like, and what I always find strange is that quite often the game servers actually run quite well. It's usually like the item server that's completely overloaded and just
Exactly.
like I guess it's complicated and
Yeah.
especially with people moving stuff around. And like the one that annoys me the most is you like move stuff and you move one thing into something that it already thinks there's a slot in for, and then it goes and just pulls you back to the front page, and you go back in and
Yeah.
everything's like reverted back to the way it was
Yes.
because you made some kind of invalid move, which is super annoying. And I know that actually Nikita came on Reddit and posted something just saying
I
like
did see that,
everything was
yeah.
on fire, but we're fixing it, da da da, that kind of stuff. Which is like it's good. It's good to see him going with that. I did see there was like some unfortunate people who were, especially kind of like smaller and mid-tier streamers who were kind of they were streaming and then they had a problem, which meant that there was like, or their scav was like scuffed, and so you get like you just have the background and there's no options, so you have to Alt F4 out and then go back in, but then it's like 20,000 person queue and like 30-minute wait time to like get back in. Like, oh my
Oh,
god, like in the middle of their stream and stuff, which
that
is
sucks.
kind of annoying. But yeah, I mean, look, I guess it comes with the territory of it just being a very, very busy time. It's early wipe, everyone's involved, plus drops, like everyone's on at the same time claiming
Yeah.
that kind of thing. So yeah, it's been pretty crazy. Um, but like I think the worst thing, because you mentioned very like briefly, you touched over it. The worst part was when they were actually having those critical backend server problems, and they had that notorious thing, which I think maybe has happened in the past, but has come back, and it's very rare because obviously they'd never want this to happen. But I was actually watching Pestily when it occurred, right, where like you go into raid, something happened, like you die or whatever, like you extract whatever, but there's some problem, and then you come out and there's an error. You come back in and your character's just completely empty. And whatever you went into raid with was totally deleted, including everything out of the secure container. And that happened to so many people. They lost like sick cases full of keys. Presley lost all of his lighthouse keys, along with a load of other ones. Because you just assume that it's, you put whatever in there because you never lose
Hmm.
it. And so many people just got the whole sick case of stuff deleted, which really sucks.
Yeah.
Um, that was probably the worst one, but that was, I think, for a very short time. And then they like solved that, but I think there's quite a few people who just never got that back. I don't think anyone's well, some people did after like they played like another two raids or something and relogged and I don't know, redid their files and stuff and got it back. But there was definitely some other people that that was it. It was just lost into the ether, which is pretty bad. I know there's some people who were kind of taking a breather just to wait for everything to stabilize so they didn't get their stat eaten by trying to go
Yeah.
into
No,
raid.
that was me. I was like, I'm gonna wait till like 1 a.m. my time to like do a few quests because I don't want to take any chances right now.
Yeah, it was bad. So, but look, otherwise it's fine. I think things are. We'll see. I'm hoping that by the end of next week, by the time we get to Thursday, then things will have like stabilized and everything kind of be in a good spot or something like that, which will make me pleased that it kind of wasn't earlier in the cycle. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, the I guess the exciting in-game update, which no one was expecting, except apparently Nice Guy from many years ago, and apparently it was mentioned at some point that it was potentially coming, but like no one knew the timing. Was yeah, they just like randomly did airdrops in the middle of people streaming with Twitch drops for drops, I guess you could say. But it's quite cool because you've got like everybody watching, and then they like randomly put these airdrops in on where was it? It was like Woods and I think maybe on Lighthouse as well.
I think it's
And
all the outdoor maps.
yeah, so I think the first couple were like on those, and then they've kind of put them in on all of them. So all the outdoor maps now have them, and that's really cool. Have you seen any clips, or I guess like has anyone managed to grab any? I'm
We
not sure. Have you like
did.
you visited any yourself?
So yeah, he was streaming, and then dude, this is hilarious. He was inside resort, and then he just hears this loud noise, and he's like, "What? What the hell is that?" And then it just keeps getting louder and louder, and he starts kind of you can kind of see him like panicking. So he like gets in the corner, and he's like hitting escape and his console button by mistake, and then he like disables VoIP because he thought it was like a cheater abusing VoIP, like fly hacking or something. And then he realizes it's not that. But then he goes outside and he sees the plane just flying over, and he's like, "What the hell?" And he sees it drop. So he goes out, he tries to find it, and then another one flies over and drops like right on top of him. And it's got like scars in it, dude, all this loot. Like, dude, oh my god, I was like omega stunned that they did this. Like I was not like I remember them like I think it was back in like 12.9 or something. They were talking about um the idea of doing like maybe some streamers were like putting it out there, and then like the next podcast they did, they had like a render. I think Nice Guy had in this video of like a big care package that had like a parachute falling over it type of thing. But man, that was just like, dude, I cannot believe they did that, man. That really caught me by surprise.
Exactly. I think like the thing for me was like the clips of people who like running up to them for the first time on the first day, and they like open it up, and when like the case appears, and it's basically like a thick items case size, and it's all like gray unsearched items, and everyone's
Yeah.
like, "What? Oh my God!" And it's like such an enormous quantity of items. It's so cool. I've not actually visited any myself because with everything being busy and stuff like, and yeah, midweek, whatever. Like I've
Yeah.
not been on enough to actually go and grab one, but yeah, I've seen other people getting them and stuff, and it's like yeah, it's cool. It's really cool. I think now they seem to have like toned it down a little because I know they were like running them like it was like two every raid or something, and
Yeah.
yeah, it'd be nice if it just continues on and then it's kind of like something that happens every now and then. It's a bit like a boss, in some sense. It's like a 20% chance or 15% chance. I don't know what kind of the right spawn rate is for them, but it's kind of cool. It makes like a point of interest. You can make a point of interest somewhere that's like not the main points of interest on the map, and it's something random. Like this is the kind of stuff that spices the game up and keeps it interesting, kind of in
Hmm.
the long run, right? It's like this is very much in kind of like the PUBG playbook because the PUBG is very sort of drop centric. Or at least it was when back when I played, and it was that was always like the exciting thing, like drops coming in, and you go in and it's like has the best stuff in it. And I think that's cool, and it gives them a mechanism to deploy some of this high tier stuff, like some high tier ammo. Because if you imagine if you've got like
Yeah.
200 rounds of like 7N40 or like M9N5 or something, it's like not really any other way to get that other than slowly picking it up in like 12,
Right.
16, like a box of 30, whatever. But like you can actually get like a big block of like one type of ammo that lets you run something kind of meta for like a certain period of time, and then it's gone. That seems kind of cool to me. So long as it's not, yeah, as long as it doesn't overwhelm the economy with like high end stuff. But I don't think it will with that kind of rate and the fact that it's kind of like fight to the death over it. It's
Yeah.
no, it's neat. It's neat.
It's
It's good.
really cool. I want to talk about some of these things you discussed, but I want to sort of speculate on how it functions because what I heard is that multiple streamers at the exact same time in different raids, in different raid times, got the drop. So the theory is that it's global, which is super interesting if it's global because kind of like you know, since the raids are very static in that you have set spawn locations, there's a set timer, you know. So like if you were designing this, you may be like, okay, in between 25 minutes and 15 minutes, it's gonna drop a drop, right? Like that's the spawn chance. So if this is like global, then technically it could like happen at the start of the raid. It could happen like it could literally happen anywhere within the raid, which makes it a lot less, cheesable because I don't think you would want it to have, as I was describing, a set parameter of timers because once you start to, after playing and gathering experience and data, you start to get an idea of like, okay, now's the time, the airdrop event can happen. Let me go to these set locations that I think it might, you know what I mean? And that's the other part is like, how does it work as far as it dropping? Are there like different spawn points? Is it random? Could it lay on top of a unaccessible building, like on top of customs, like there's a random warehouse? Like I don't really know. I probably think it's the first one, but what are your thoughts?
So my thoughts, and this is pure speculation on my part, but I would guess that the very first one, and I don't know whether it was just the first one or whether some of the others were combined as well, but I know the first one, as you're saying, was kind of like a global thing in all raids. I think they probably would only do that the one time because it was like the big reveal, and it was kind of like every streamer has got an airdrop all at once, and everyone's like, "What is this?" And the whole community is just like, "Oh my God, this is crazy." I think that was
I
kind of
can
like a
see that.
marketing stunt in some ways
Yeah.
because, and it actually uses, interestingly, it uses exactly the same technology as the Halloween event with the moon over the shoreline. Everyone going to raid, and there's something
Oh,
happening same
right.
time on all maps. Well, not all maps, but all instances of that
Yes.
map, regardless of time, whether it's day, night, whatever. And it's like switches. If it's day, it goes to night, night, day, and it happens at the same time for everyone. So it's actually the same as that. It's the same technology, which is kind of neat. I I just don't think that it necessarily like they could continue to have them be global. I just don't think they need to, and I don't see any reason to. I would like it to be fairly random as to when they happen,
Hmm.
and maybe even go so far as to kind of push it towards like the end of a raid, maybe.
Sure.
I'm not sure. So like, it can't happen in the first 15 minutes, say. So there's like a reason for people to stay, but you don't want it to be kind of annoying and people go, well, it just takes too long and I can't be bothered. So I don't know. Maybe just random is good. Maybe random is good. If you just so happen to be in there in like 45 minutes right at the end, and then it suddenly drops, and you're like, oh, and there's no one else here, so I just get the loot. It's cool. And
Yeah.
sometimes it happens at 5 minutes, and there's like a huge battle royale at the beginning. I actually don't mind that, honestly. I actually
Yeah.
don't mind that. I think that's fine. It being a bit random. I think it's cool. But yeah, I feel like it's going to be randomized per raid. I don't really see what having it global from here would do, but I think it was awesome that they did it for that one. And
Yeah,
it
for
shows you
sure.
again that they have the technology to do events like that all at once and to kind of surprise us all simultaneously. I guess this is what Nikita was talking about when he was saying, there's things that are coming in 12.12 that I haven't told you about, and I want to surprise the community. And this is the kind of stuff that he's referring to, which is neat. So that would be what I think would happen with it. And yeah, I think it'll be something like a 15% chance to spawn in any raid, and that it'll be varied as to when it might appear. And it's just kind of random and instance specific, I would guess.
Yeah,
But we'll
that makes
see. I think
sense.
there's like, I saw somebody, I can't remember who said it, but somebody made a really good point about it, which is that it actually makes shootable in heaven quite a lot easier on some maps where people don't really go on, in the out on sort of some of the outside areas. It gives you
Hmm.
much more like opportunity. There's a reason for people to be in those open exposed
Yes,
places,
absolutely.
which is actually kind of neat. It kind of like sets up more of those fights that
Yeah.
don't really exist most of the time. Like people tend to like scuttle around through cover. Most people like are pretty either they're experienced enough at the game to broadly how to like people just don't run through open fields usually, right? They do sometimes, but not usually. Whereas this gives them a reason to go and expose themselves. It's like a risk reward thing again. So
Yeah.
um, it's like on reserve when you're wandering around, you're like, oh, well, there's no one above ground, or everyone's in buildings. It makes it like very difficult to actually kill anybody. Whereas this is like, oh, well, I know somebody might go there, but they know that I know that they're going to be going there, so they know I'm going to be watching. So it's kind of like this funny sort of, you know, who's going to go for the crate? Is it a bit like
Yeah.
going into Sawmill when Woods was much smaller, and there's like the whole thing's just snipers lined up around the edge, and you're like just need to plant your gold chains. You're like, please, and there's like 5 people with flares. Back then, with like 90,000. Honestly, to think back to those days is actually a bit horrific. Do you remember that when like there was like
Yeah.
really early on in my play when it was like obligatory to take like a flare
Yes,
with you, and they were
absolutely.
like 80,000 rubles. It was nuts. But no, I don't. We're gonna have to see how it plays out. So maybe I will actually complete Shoot Born in Heaven. This I did it 2 wipes, and I've just never bothered since. After getting Kappa, um, I just haven't bothered doing it. I just like if it happens, it happens. If not, then no worries. Because I don't usually do much sniping, but this would kind of incentivize me to go and think about it a bit more. Because it's better than just like sitting in a spot and like waiting forever. I just
Yeah.
hate that. I just find it so boring. Whereas this is kind of like, oh,
Yeah.
you can, even if you don't want to go for the job, it's like, oh well, I might be able to pick someone off at the job. And yeah, saw a bit of that on people's streams and stuff. So yeah, it's gonna be cool. We're gonna have
I
to see how it plays out. I don't see any downside to this feature.
I also probably will be doing Shooterborn myself. I'm not sure why, but I feel like this wipe I'm gonna be playing the majority of it.
Mm.
Um I just feel like there's so much, it's just such a better wipe in my opinion, or continue it, just so many things have changed, it just feels so fresh to me. So I want to get the most out of it. So I'll be doing Shooterborn, and which I already did. I've gotten 2 kills on customs, and one of them I'm not exactly proud of, but hey, it's a ratty rat world. I was sitting at Bridge at the bus stop,
Mhm.
um, inside the bus. I mean, and I was like just high enough, or like to my right, I could see the what's that exfil called?
The one with the light. Is it
Yes,
RUF
CC.
roadblock? Is that
Yeah,
one?
yeah, yeah. RUF roadblock, and then to my left, I could see the campfire.
Campfire.
So I'm sitting here for like 20 minutes just taking out scavs, and they're like shooting me in the glass and stuff. And then eventually I see a guy run down to the campfire, and he's just crouching, sitting there, and I'm just like, oh my god, this is it. This is my opportunity. And boom, headshot. I'm like, oh dude, that felt so dirty, but I got the shooter board. And
Honestly, I think anything goes with Shooter Born in Heaven. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, well, I just it's just unfortunate because it's like, the quest is just like, how can I get exactly 100 meters away and have players come through with traffic? You know, because you obviously need, not only do you need 100 meters, but you need the traffic, you need the players, opportunities. So it's like either at the start of the raid is like been usually my go-to, and then at the end of the raid is always like, you remember on Interchange when back when that was Shooterborn Heaven? Oh my god, literally every time you go to Intercom, it's like Mosin shots going off constantly. Anyways, long tangent, but yeah, what we're talking about drops, dude. I love this edition, man. I just like you were saying, I feel like it's gonna add so much dynamicism. Is that a word? To the
I think
raid.
it is.
To the raid. And the what's great about this with like the culmination of the other changes they did, so the drops themselves, like as you said, they're just a massive loophole, and it's like rigs, armors, helmets, yeah, glasses, food, ammo. Like it's just insane, like random loot, like ratchet wrench. Like it's just all types of stuff, right? I saw someone got a the couch, the broccoli bag, the giant backpack, the raid backpack. They got one in there. I was like, what? So keep that in mind, and then also keep in mind that a lot of stuff is banned at the flea market. The Some of the big backpacks, some of the helmets, some of the so this is like you were saying, kind of like that PUBG thing where it's like, man, this is some potentially some high tier loot that's in the raid. It's not like you once you're done with the raid, you just somehow acquire this high tier loot. Like you have to actually get it, use the weight mechanics, get out with it, and then you can use it in another raid. Like it's I love that because it's so much more interesting, and it's not just like, all right, I've grinded the RPG system now. I just get, I get the good stuff all the time. It's just not my favorite thing in the world. Whereas this dude, it just makes it so much more interesting. And as you said, it's like a cat and mouse game or like a 3D chess or something. It's like, you could sit there and like play Overwatch at the drop, and then you kill the guy that's like looting it, and then some other guy kills you who was overwatching you. It's just like this crazy thing. I don't think it's great, man. I'm so excited to experience this. I haven't had the opportunity yet. Like it did happen in one raid, but I was getting shot at when I was like trying to chase down this one team. I don't know what happened. That was a crazy thing because I was still playing on like my side of the map. I was like on Big Red side. I was just
Right.
killing scavs with the AKSU. And yeah, I don't know what happened there, right? So I had to like cut my losses, just like, okay, you guys can have that drop. I'm gonna just get out of here. But dude, man, this is like such a crazy change, man. A crazy addition.
Yeah, I think it's so good. I mean, it's what you said, right? About like you go in, you grab the thing, you have to use the weight mechanics and leave and stuff. And then like because of the way the economy has changed, like you have to use this stuff or sell it to the trader. Like it's not like you're going to be going, well, I've got all this stuff, like I really want to use it to just like sell it all on the flea and make 1,000,000 rubles. Like no, it's like you can't sell the couch backpack, you can't sell the high tier ammo, right? You've got to either decide to keep it in your stash, like use it in a raid, whatever. Which is it's so much better in that way. It's so much better in that way. I think did we talk about this last time? I don't know when I got one of the Scar H's, and
Mhm.
I think maybe we did talk about this last time. I don't know, but it was like, yeah, I got one of the Scar H's and brought it back. I was like, oh, I'm going to sell this on the flea, blah blah. And then everyone's like, oh, well, you can't do that. And I was like, oh yeah, of course I can't do that. So it's like, oh, fine. Well, I'm not going to sell it to trader. Okay, well, I'm going to use it then. And it's just like the immediate change in psychology of like, I'm going to take this out and sell it straight away because I'm not going to use it. Versus like, oh well, okay, no, okay, maybe I guess I'll just use it now then. And it's like that's just so different. And people using the high end armors and ammos and whatever, and not just like churning it economically because like it's it's just the best thing to do. It's the most obvious economically profitable thing to do if you're playing in that kind of like sort of min-maxy economic way.
But what do you do
Which,
with the money?
what do you mean?
Well, I mean, you could use it, you could sell to a vendor, you could sell to flea market. So you're saying the flea market was the obvious choice. What do you
Yeah.
do with why is it the obvious choice?
Well, it was the obvious choice before because in my mind, you've got there's there's kind of a chart of like utility versus cost, right? And it's kind of that thing of, you go if
Okay.
you go for best in slot item, you maybe get one extra ergo, but it's like 3 times the price. So if you go for the second best, then you
Right.
can buy 3 of them. And that's the thing. It would be like for me, I'd be like, well, if I find, I don't know, if I find like a killer armor in
Hmm.
raid,
Hmm.
I'd probably sell that and buy like 2.5 reduces instead. That kind of thing. So
I
it's
gotcha.
like min-maxing your loadouts based on that. And the same thing with like, sell the M9M5, buy 855 A1 instead with it,
Sure.
that kind of stuff. Whereas like that sort of downscaling, because I used to do that. It's kind of I normally I put most of like, especially towards the end, right? So when you're on the progression like treadmill, it's a bit different because you're sort of scaling up and buying things to the hideout and whatever, where that's the better option. You sell the expensive stuff and you just buy stuff for the hideout. Whereas like when you're at the end, it's like, okay, well, I'm still wanting to like min-max my loadouts, but I'm kind of like buying stuff that's in sort of the 80 to 90% region of like the best stuff in the game, but never the stuff that's like,
Right.
the
Right.
absolute like best. It's like, okay,
Right.
here's the things that get me like, they get me close to a meta loadout, but like literally half the cost. And that's always where I'd like end up sitting myself, just because like, and you know what, honestly, I probably could afford the more expensive stuff, but I like the decision making of trying to pick those loadouts that are like super efficient, going, okay, well, I basically have the utility of a meta loadout, but without spending that money. It's just like, it's just pleasing to me.
Yeah.
But now it's like, well, now I can just like use that stuff like freely because I don't feel, because that choice has been taken away.
It's gone.
Now it's like, yeah, it's gone. And so it actually makes the game kind of more, it gives it more variety, I would say, in some ways. It gives it more
Through
variety.
less choice, it gives it more variety.
Yep,
That's
bizarrely,
interesting.
because like you could kind of make the correct choice every time with the flea, whereas now you don't have the ability to make the choice anymore, so you just have to use what you're given. And I think that's overall an improvement.
Yeah. I kind of feel differently. I just feel like having less
Yeah,
options is because
I
now
like the
you're
idea of having to
basically
make do with what you get.
I do as well, but in the same vein, I just feel like you cut out an like basically I think what we're saying is the previous options you had, there was one clear winner. Now you have two options, sell to the vendor and use it, and there's probably one clear winner, which is using it. Most of maybe, I don't know, like some of that stuff may not be accurate. I'm not too sure, but kind of my fear is that right now it feels good, but and we talked about this last week and we got tons of comments on it. Um, as the wipe progresses, when new players start joining in, they're going to be at a larger disadvantage than before because they can't sell that, meta parts, meta gun, meta gear, top tier, best in slot stuff to other players, to buy more budget friendly stuff for them. So they're kind of like, I don't know, it's I don't really like that because they essentially have one option, which is use it, but they're new, so like they're not going to get the most value. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's a good thing.
yeah. I don't think you can really fix that, right? Because new players just have to learn and they have to
They have to learn the
experience
hard.
the
Yeah,
game and stuff. They got to learn anyway, so
yeah,
they're gonna get stood on either which way. So use it, not use it, kind of whatever. But as we said last time, like I do agree that once players can freely buy all the stuff from the traders, then it's an issue, and the trader scaling is also an issue because
yeah,
a lot of the mid tier stuff. I was looking through some of the items, right, and it's like the Scar L. If you buy it from the trade, it's just like super expensive. It's crazy, and it's like the
yeah. It
RSAS.
doesn't.
It's insane. Like the price is insane. No one uses it because we said before, market forces previously were driving the prices. People were buying the good stuff was really expensive because everyone was buying it, so it kind of leveled
Yeah,
out, right?
right.
Whereas now we're reliant upon static traders, so you get kind of stuck. So we'll see. We'll see. I think I think it's going to be a bit awkward later, and
Sure.
we'll just have to see what happens. But again,
Yeah,
like most of the people, like when I polled my community, and I will admit that there's a selection bias on people
sh-
responding, right? Because typically people
sure.
who are in my community, well, I would imagine are probably generally a lower level. Not maybe not. I don't know. I don't actually know how much of a bias there is there actually, but given that it's like mostly tutorial stuff, you imagine
Right.
there's a higher weighting of new players, let's say.
Yeah, I get you.
And so But even still, there's a good proportion of people who just didn't make it to max traders. And I think that
Yeah.
that will continue to propagate through this wipe in that people are using class 4 and the ammos that beat class 4. It's going to be the BT, the M856A1, the M80s, and then 6B3TM and all the other stuff in that armor class. Have you? By the way, this is like, well, let me let you respond to that first, and then I'll move on.
Um. Yeah. I mean, I pretty much agree. Pretty much. Yeah. Only anything to say.
Cool. Yeah, we're just going to have to see what happens. But no, what I was going to say is, have you seen the 2 new class 4 rigs?
Oh, I have actually. I took one off a player.
Which one? Because there's two. So there's the MMAC, and then there's the Strand Hog.
This one had a 2x2. You put like
I
a
think that's the
grizzly in,
Strand Hog.
and it
Yeah, that's the
covers
bigger
the
one.
yeah.
And that one's the thorax and stomach. Because I've been actually looking
Yes.
through them, and sneak preview. I've like basically done another armor thing. Because I think like I was waiting to do level 4 anyway, and a couple of people I was actually not going to do it. Like that's why I just didn't do it. And a
Hmm.
few people were just like, "Oh, can you do level 4 as well?" And I was just like, "Just buy the 6B3TM." And everyone was like, no, there's more to it than that. And I'm like, is there? Because like I
Yeah.
just kind of skip over. I like get to like
No, I
before I
feel
just like
you.
got to class 4, do the 6B3TM, get to the Flea, and then I just buy like level 5 after that. But now you can't do it. So I was like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, everything's changed. Like maybe this is valuable now. And it's good actually. The MMAC I think is a real contender for the 6B3.
Okay.
Like it's very, very close. Like it depends. It's sewing kit and a ripstop, I think, and you can do the barter, and you do the barter at Ragman 3, Ragman 2. So you get it at the same time,
Oh,
and it
I
can be like
forgot
55
about
to
that.
60k, and it's a rig, and it's got more. I actually have the stats here because I go through everything right
Yeah, yeah.
in the video, obviously. But like, so the 6B3TM has an effective durability of 73, and the MMAC is effective of 89. So it's a little bit better.
Huh.
And for basically the same price, and it's polymer, so it repairs like crazy, crazy well. It has less debuffs, so 7% ergo rather than 15% on 6B3TM, which is actually the worst. 6B3TM's ergo debuff is really bad. So it's actually pretty good. It's actually pretty good, and I think it's got, I can't remember what the space is in it actually, but it's got more
I
space.
think it's got more space.
Um,
Yeah. Okay.
so yeah, it's actually really neat,
I'm
and
gonna have to look into it.
because it's on Ragman 2, that's when it makes it
Yeah.
like a real contender, because the
Right.
Strandhog's actually weird because it's got more, it's like 45 durability rather than 40, but because
Uh-huh.
it's made of aluminium, it actually has 75 effective. So it's actually worse, but it's at Ragman 3. And when I was looking through it, because like it's one of these things, like and this is the same with pretty much all my videos, like I kind of know what I'm going to say mostly when I
Hmm.
go and do it. But when I actually do it, I'm like, oh, that's interesting. And oh, this is funny. Because like you never quite go into that much detail, right? Otherwise.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is funny because there's actually quite a few random level, like class 4s that are on Ragman 3. And you're like, really? Like, this is bizarre. So, like, the Strandhog's on Ragman 3, but the MMAC is on Ragman 2. And you're like, well, this doesn't really make sense. Maybe this should be the other way around. I don't know. Um, and there's even like, which one is it? It's the 6B23-2, one of the ceramic ones, which is like awful. And that's on Ragman 3 and it's like 75k. It's like, who's going to buy this? And that's the problem with the static stuff, right? Because like no one buys
Yes.
those things from Ragman and they're too high a level. So it's just silly. It doesn't make sense. But it's cool. Yeah, MMAC, like, I think it could be a real contender.
I
It's
really
not like it's not miles better, but and it's thorax only, so it's kind of a different meta. You probably don't want to take it to factory, but it's, if you want to be playing against rifle people firing at you with single individual bullets, then it's kind of more meta than the 6B3 in that sense, right? If you're not getting like Magnum buckshots in the stomach, if you're playing like woods, if you're playing
hmm hmm
maybe customs, but it depends where you are. But like if you're outside, like roaming around outside on
Right.
shoreline and whatever, like it's potentially better. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting because it's going to be so like class 4 is like the game now.
Everywhere. Yeah. Yeah. It's the class 6. Pretty well.
Yeah, until some people get some higher traders, then definitely. I
I
mean, there's a bunch of
really
people with troopers around still as well, which they're
but
good, but they're still
he,
class 4.
dude, if I see a trooper, I am yoinking that and staying in a stash till I get max traders and can do the Ragman barter. Because that's like, dude, that thing's so valuable, man. And it's like 3x3 in your backpack. Oh man, I for that reason I just can't bring myself to run a trooper. You know, even if I found it, I'm just like I'm gonna hoard it. Like no shot, dude.
Yeah, it's almost a
Um,
shame that it's part of that barter.
right, right. Yeah, I feel the same. I was gonna say I really hope that they, try dynamic dynamic trader pricing again because I feel like that would just like kind of slowly like creep those different like what is there like 20 is there like 25 different class 4 armors? There's so many.
There are, well, I can tell you, there are 14.
No shot. 14? Including
Yeah,
chest and rigs?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
14.
There's quite a few. The
There's a
14 is a
lot.
lot, to be fair.
Yeah, it's a lot. Not as much as I thought, but still a lot. But I just feel like you would have like all like if they had them like it could slowly slide into like their appropriate pricing. It just make it so many it'd have so many more choices instead of just like, oh, this armor's crap, it's overpriced. Oh, this armor's it's just kind
Yeah,
of
I had this
sad.
kind of funny idea about it. I was like, I know that trader pricing in the past hasn't worked because Pesto like broke the Salewers and stuff. But I was like, I was wondering, I was just like, I wonder if you could do something just really basic, like, you know, I guess like it's actually not that basic. It always ends up being so complicated. But I was thinking like, if a certain number of players or if something goes out of stock, then on the next reset it ticks up by whatever, some really small amount, some like
Yeah.
very small amount, so that it ends up going up until it stops being out of stock, that kind of thing. But then it's based upon the actual amounts. And again, if people aren't buying enough of something, then maybe you tick it down. I don't know, but that's the problem because the supply, you're just missing the supply side. That's the issue. And it's like,
Yeah.
well, it's about like who's buying it and about how much is on the trader, but it's like you have to
Right.
set what's on the trader. This is the problem. You end up having to set too much stuff. It makes it very difficult to let it stabilize because you didn't let it stabilize by definition.
I think they will need to fail a couple of times to get it right, which, now would be a good time to do it because we're still in the beta stage, but they could do it post release, but um yeah, I mean, I think part of the issue with what Pastilli did was that back then you could buy from the traders and resell in the flea market. So he
Yeah.
was flipping. He would just buy all the sales and then flip them for maximum. I don't even remember. Like, I would have to pull up the video. I don't even know if it's on his YouTube channel still, but it was that was the day that he got a phone call from Nikita. He was like, "You need to get rid of the money. I don't care how you do it. Get rid of the money," because he had like just an insane amount of money. Day one of the wipe, it was
I think he had like
hilarious.
literally billions, I think.
I can't even tell you. Yeah, it was
It's
insane.
nuts. It's
But
actually
they,
nuts.
but since that's not a thing anymore, you
Mm.
can't flip from traders. I could see something like you were describing, like you would have like a trader set stock, and then if it goes out of stock, the trader's like, okay, I need to get more, so he gets like a little bit more, and then maybe he also increases the price a bit. I don't know. Like I could see it something like this going, and then they could do it too, where it's like if an individual party buys let's say 5% of the stock, then his or how should I say this? Let's say he buys a lot of something, and you would say, okay, we're only going to count 5% of what he bought. You know what I mean? Like basically you set it up to where an individual actor can't buy a ton of stuff that heavily affects the system. Like it would be like it would recognize, okay, we'll only give him credit for X amount, not this insane thing that he bought for. That way
Yeah,
someone
that's
couldn't just like go and buy, like a shotgun and just buy a all of them from Jaeger just to be a dick and then raise the price of shotguns to like, 1,000,000 rubles.
Yeah, that's why I was thinking that it should be something very slow and very progressive because then it wouldn't be worth anybody. Like you wouldn't have enough stash space to actually do it.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be able to buy enough to make it work. It would only be across the whole player base. So how about this? So
Okay.
rather than changing stock, BSG, for better or worse, right? We're just going to take it for granted that BSG know how scarce they want certain items to be. They
Okay.
have trader limits on at the moment. again, for better or worse, we're just going to kind of take that concept as a thing, right? So they
Okay.
say, I think somebody was talking about M61 that's come back on, and I think it was supposed to be a bug that it wasn't on Peacekeeper, but now you can buy, I think it's 30. I think it's 30 M61 per reset, right? So BSG, they kind of know how much they want to limit the supply of certain
Right.
items. Fine. So given that that's like our premise here, then you could put something in very simply saying if it gets completely sold out, the price increases by 10 rubles or something. Depends what it
Hmm.
is. Maybe if it's an ammo, it goes up by, you know, a different amount if it's an armor or whatever, right?
Sure.
But you just have something very basic. So if it gets sold out, it goes up by 10 rubles. And that just keeps happening over and over again until it stops being sold out. And then on the other side, you say, okay, well, if people are buying like less than, you could even make a really small number, like less than 10% of the stock of a particular item, it goes down by a certain amount. And
Yeah,
then
that's key.
eventually people will go, huh, okay, this stuff's getting really cheap. It's bad, but maybe it's worth it. Because there comes a point where um, it's like the old adage, right? It's like there's no bad products, just bad prices, that kind of thing. So, if something's
Yeah,
free,
for sure.
you will use it. you know so there's a price for all of the items. It's just where is that level, and so without
Yeah.
in the absence of a player economy, you're going, okay, fine, well, the tool that we want to use to scale the economy is the scarcity, and we're going to set the scarcity, and then from there everything else should follow. But it should be slow enough that it would happen over a period of a couple of weeks or something, so it wouldn't be like you can just buy full stash worth of like double barrel shotguns and then sell them back for
Right.
5 times the price. Like, that's just not the way it's supposed to be. It's per reset that it gets observed. It slowly ticks over time, and the economy slowly stabilizes to where it should be.
Yeah,
That would seem to be sensible to me. And you could make it really slow at first just to see what
yeah,
happened, because
for
it wouldn't really
sure.
affect anything if you made it slow enough. So that to me that would be an interesting test. I think that would be kind of cool, given that we're now moving away from the regular market forces. You're
Hmm.
still you're still then tapping into market forces, just not
Yes.
direct price, because you're saying, well, we're using player activity and what's popular and what's not popular, and then that's going to implicitly calculate the price functionally in some fashion. So you kind of get the benefit of market pricing of people buying things that they like and not buying things they don't like, which feeds through without having to have people actually set the prices. So that could work. But I don't know. I doubt they implement anything like that. But we'll see. I think that could be kind of a fun,
Uh,
a fun thing to try.
I
They
think
could
it's
even do it just for a
better.
couple of items.
What?
They could even do it just for a couple of items.
Yeah, that's true. I think it's better than hiring a fictional prepper to sit at his desk and play with prices. Like Nikita actually talked about that. I know that would be like Airwing's dream job, but that just, oh man, that's like so bizarre. Could you imagine just having like, yeah, you're Jaeger, you're prepper, you're therapist. This is what you guys do all day. Just sit here in the office and just, adjust pricing. Like that'd be so bizarre.
That'd be so
Uh,
weird.
I like what you said about having prices also lower based off, you know, the quantity being bought being low, because that's
Mhm.
always kind of bothered me is like even like Packers, for example, it just stay at a fixed price. I think they're like
Yeah.
30K, which is like kind of like that feels really bad, especially late wipe if you're playing. Just feels really bad. And then it's even worse because like you think you unlock the flea market and they're being sold cheaper and like maybe by like a 1,000 ruble cheaper. Like it's never or it's like a damage pack. It's like never really in the players, like the new guys' interest doing late wipe. So that'd be cool too. Like, could you imagine like PM pistols being like 2,000 rubles, like super late in the wipe? Like that'd be game for that. Like
Yeah.
unlimited
Can you imagine?
PM
And you could
PM
even put
pistols
like a
run.
minimum cap, right? Yeah, you could say like an item cannot go below 25% of its starting price or something.
Yeah,
Like you could put
yeah, for
some
sure.
arbitrary caps on. But yeah, you imagine that, right? It's like you get to the end of the wipe and packers are like really cheap. PMs
Yeah.
are like super cheap. All the shotguns are like the basic ones are like dirt cheap, and so you start in the that actually that helps, right? Because all of the good items and all the stuff that's like on the high traders, whatever, they've all gone picked
They
up and up and up and up and
scale.
up,
Yeah.
and all of the bad items have all gone down and
Right.
down and down, and so you end up like the chads and all the experienced guys are paying more and more and more, and all of the new guys coming in are paying less and less and less.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. I love that mechanism. That's brilliant.
Yeah. Yeah. They
I didn't even
that
think about that.
that would be a huge thing, because I know Nikita's talked about this. It was a very recent podcast. I don't know if you caught it, but he was saying how he wants the game to be approachable no matter when during the wipe stage. which I love because it's like that's always kind of been a thing. It's like, hey, the wipe happens. Should I play Tarkov? It's like, yes, yes. But then you see like, hey, I'm thinking about trying this game. Should I wait till the wipe? Blah blah blah. And it's like, I want to say like it yes and no, it's like a hard thing to be like, yeah, you should play now and enjoy getting, shit stomped in dorms trying to get your jacket. Yeah, dude. Absolutely. You're going to love this game. Like it's such a hard recommend. Like I always say like there's no experience like early wipe experience, so like the sooner you can get in on the early wipe the better.
Mm.
But,
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And like, don't get me wrong, right? Packers being half the price, you're still gonna die. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
absolutely.
Like,
Yeah.
you're still gonna die. So it's not like
Yeah,
it breaks the game or anything.
for
It
sure.
was quite funny because on one of my other more recent ones, I was going through the different weapons and stuff, and somebody commented on the channel and they were like, "Oh, the MPX is outclasses the MP5. Like, who would have thought it? Like slash S." And I was like, "Yeah, dude, but like they cost the same price when you include the mags. Like that shouldn't happen." I was like, "I hear you, I get you, right? Like this is not a surprise to anybody that the MPX is better, but like it's a little bit, it's $50 more or something."
Hmm.
And if you buy 3 magazines, then you save like $40 with the MPX. So I was like, the two loadouts are like identical in cost. Like, why would anybody buy the MP5? It doesn't make sense.
You
It's just silly.
So you're saying that the MPX mags are cheaper than the MP5 mags?
Yes, they're like half the
I
price.
didn't know that. What? That's actually really funny. Oh my god.
Yeah, I know. And the MP5 mags are actually really quite expensive. They're like
Yeah, they're
$40
$39.
each, I think. Yeah, $39.
Yeah,
MPX mags are like 20.
that's crazy. I didn't know that.
And three mags, like it makes a difference, dude. Like it's like
Yeah,
60
yeah.
bucks.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and it's like, and it means that the two guns are basically the same. And then you get like, what do you get? Like a foregrip rail automatically for the MPX. You get a rail on top. You don't need to buy the mount.
Right, right.
Like it's like it's a
A
complete
little faster
no-brainer.
fire. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
and it actually
interesting.
starts with lower recoil, like the non-SD version, obviously. But the base MP5 is like got a higher recoil than the MPX out stock out of the gate.
Really. That's
So
also interesting. Yeah.
yeah, so I was
It's
like,
like a
I
no-brainer.
get it. Exactly, I was like, I get it. Yes, the MPX is better. Sure, that's fine, and I did say that. Okay, but like it shouldn't be the same price then,
Yeah,
right?
that's
Like,
what
'cause otherwise,
yeah.
what's the point? Like,
Yeah, for sure. There is a lot
yeah,
of stuff like that. Like there's certain grips that are like more expensive but worse stats than like other ones. Like I can't think of any specific ones, but it is kind of like why is this like this, or
yeah,
same
yeah.
with
And it'd be
like
cool because, like, sorry, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say same with like there's a stock. I think it's the Basilic stock. It's like cheaper um than some of the other stocks that you unlock later, and it has better stats. Like it's such a weird, I don't know. It's
There's
the
definitely some of
the
those.
pricing balance to like performance is like kind of seems like it wasn't perfectly distributed. But what were you gonna say?
Um, no, it's just going to continue on about how there's differences in the various trader levels and stuff, and this kind
Yeah,
of mechanic would help because
for
you get
sure.
that kind of rebalancing, automatically, and it'd
And
be a slow grind towards something sensible. And people might not notice because it's quite slow. People are going to have to continuously be looking for
yep,
stuff, so there might just be stuff that's cheap, and you go, "Oh, well, look at this no one's bought from this guy for ages." And there'll be hidden gems and things, which is actually kind of cool.
another cool factor, they could take the data from that wipe and be like, oh, this something interesting happened here. We saw like an increase in price and then a decrease. We could like, maybe like the you would sort of like see these grips that are like
Mm.
unbalanced balance themselves out, and then they could take that and be like, okay, well we can clearly see that there was an issue here. Let's adjust the pricing for this next cycle so that way it will make a little bit more sense. Like there's so many pros, dude. Like Nikita, please.
It's actually like the more we've talked about it, like I didn't really think about this too much. I was like just musing about it very, very generally, but now we've kind of fleshed it out. I actually think that's kind of cool, and I don't think it's really that difficult. Maybe there's some problems with it, I don't know, but um, it sounds like slow and steady. It might actually work quite
Yeah,
nicely.
just as an experiment, I think difficulty might be a little bit an issue, but like purely as an experiment, they could do it on the ETS too, man. Like just for like a month, maybe a
Mm.
couple of weeks. I don't think they do ETS that long, but I don't know, man. Stuff like that. I love like the testing. You know, I want to be a part of the testing. Like we're testing this current economy, and so far I'm enjoying it, man. I'm enjoying it. It's definitely been interesting to say the least. I did notice that I was doing an AK. This is a bit of a random topic, and then we'll get back to the usual program. But I did notice that I was building an AKS 74U, and I was looking at some of the stats for like the heating and cooling. And I'm a little upset that you can't see it in the modding screen. I guess
Like
disappointed.
an overall.
Like if yeah, exactly. Like if I have to manually exit out of the modding menu, open up the inspect menu of the gun, like each individual part that affects the heating and cooling, and then add them in my head. Um, which is like, and then is it addition or is it multiplication? I don't know. So, anyways, yeah, it's pretty interesting because the AKS 74U, there's 3 handguards, right? There's the default, there's the, sorry, 4 handguards. Default, the one that you need for gunsmith,
B10, is it?
yeah, something like that. And then there's the Goliath, which no one knows about or uses. And then there's the XRU one, the one from
I quite like the
mechanic.
Goliath one. It makes the gun look really ugly.
I like it as well. I've always been a fan. I mean, it's kind of bad because you can't put a lot of muzzle devices on it, but um what's always bothered me is that Goliath handguard and the B10 handguard or B11, whatever it is. They're like the same price, same performance, but the Goliath is just objectively worse because you can put less muzzles on it. Like, sure, you got more rails, you can put more flashlights, but no one really does that. Like, that's not a thing, okay? It's just not. I'm sorry. So now with the heating and cooling stuff, they are different. So I think the Goliath has, I can't remember. One has more heating and less cooling, and the other one has more cooling and less heating. And from what I understand, from your video is that heating is sort of the acceleration of the muzzle getting hot, and as the gun
Yeah.
gets hotter it becomes less accurate, and then it starts increasing the durability burn, the maximum durability burn. And then cooling is sort of that downtime, like, you know, as it decelerates down. And what's
Yeah.
interesting is you could prioritize one or the other, right? And you have sort of like, okay, well, this one's going to be more for like really low on the cooling, sorry, really low on the heating side. That way I can, you know, full auto more, but it's going to take longer to cool down. Or you could do the opposite, have one that's like, you know, it's got really high heating, but it has like really good cooling. So you sort of go for like these precision shots of like your suppressor, and it's not eating up that durability stuff. I kind of liked it. I mean, I don't think it matters all that too much because we're talking like, you know, 2-3% differences from what I saw. Like the suppressors for that gun were all pretty much like 14% or like 14.5%. Like, you know, like 0.5% difference. It was kind of a letdown, but
Yeah, I don't think
nonetheless,
the stats are like that much. That's the kind of almost the problem.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. But it is it's turned out to be pretty interesting because I was like, huh, okay, so maybe I should do this instead of that because this gun's really crappy, and you know, I'm gonna be full autoing a lot. Probably not shooting anyone across the map from a with this crappy gun. But yeah, dude. Cool stuff, man. I still haven't had a jam yet. I don't know about you. Have you had a jam?
No, I actually haven't. I don't
Yeah.
really tend to use the scav weapons, to be fair.
Yeah,
Anyway,
that's
I'm
the
just
big
like usually
caveat.
buying 100% stuff. The only ones that I use scav ones for is the shotguns because I'm just not firing that many rounds, so it tends
Mhm.
not to happen. Um,
Mhm.
but it's quite funny. I think I mentioned last time about how I've been using the AKM with the big old drum on it, and I haven't had any
Yes.
fails to feed with that either, surprisingly. Um,
Yeah, I mean,
it's 100% AKM, to be fair, but I am using the big drum, but I'm not spamming either. I've not been in any like crazy full auto. So I've had like, I've probably fired like 40, 45
mhm.
rounds. Like at start the barrel starts getting to red, something like that. But that was about it, like a point blank. Otherwise I've been kind of using it more as like a big old like I don't know. I'm not even sure. It's not really a DMR. It's just kind of because I've been like shooting scouts. I've been doing like Punisher, so I've been
Yeah,
shooting scouts on shoreline, and it tends to be
yeah.
from a bit further away. And I've had a few close encounters where I've ended up going full auto, but either the guys died through half the magazine or I've died through half the magazine. So it's never really ended up being a problem. Um, like when you have 75 rounds of PS, like someone's gonna die.
Yeah,
Hopefully it's not you, but usually if you get 75 rounds, like it's pretty cool because the recoil on that gun is actually
I
insane. Is
bet.
honestly with the new recoil system, it's crazy. So what I'm doing now, I don't even worry about having a one time. So I just have a laser and then a
Uh,
scope. I don't even worry because like as soon as I fire, it's just like I can't see the picture anyway. So
yeah,
they're gone. Whoever it was, they're gone. So I'm just like, well, it's laser for point blank, and that's it. But so that's the gun that I've actually been using more than anything. And I've not had any fails to feed at all. So I'm still yet to have a malfunction that needs to be like properly cleared this wipe, which is kind of odd.
it is odd because we might have talked this before. I might have mentioned it. I kind of like weapon jams. I'm not really a big fan of just because it's just it's like a aren't you're rolling for a critical failure in my opinion. So it's just like ugh. You know what I mean? It's not a critical damage. It's just a critical failure, and I don't know. Not anyways. Now the magazines, the drum mags, they have a failure chance to feed. My assumption would be that that does not calculate into that 93% threshold because it's not really related to the gun mechanic. You know what I mean? Like it kind
Well,
of seems like it'd be separate, right?
honestly, I was just thinking about that as I stopped speaking. I was like, actually,
Yeah.
I wonder. But Nikita said that the 93%, the 7% safe zone only affects the overheating mechanic. So if you don't overheat the gun, I don't think you get any malfunctions, including fails to feed, I
Oh,
think.
wait. I thought it
That's
was the
based on what he
opposite.
said anyway. It's overheating. If you overheat the gun within the 7%, you can get a malfunction.
Yes, but everything
So
else
overheating
is
does count. I think everything else is fine, and because my
oh,
weapons aren't getting below 93, that's probably the reason why I'm not seeing any malfunctions at all.
yes.
Do I like that? I don't know. It's quite nice to know that I've not had any, and I don't know. In some ways, I feel like maybe the system is working as intended. Right? People who are like thrashing the ever-loving crap out of their guns take some of the debuffs. People who are doing a full auto of maybe 30 or 40 rounds and then that's it, and then they're like in a situation where they let it cool down, aren't seeing these problems. It's kind of working as intended, no? This whole point was like to stop people from just like mag dumping multiple 60 round mags, that kind of thing. So me just like
Sure.
trundling around firing like maybe 30 at most. It's not really, it's not really the intended person who it's targeting. So I know it's not necessarily like realism or whatever, but like that was kind of the whole point of this, to try and dissuade people from going super crazy with these guns. I feel like maybe it's working then.
Maybe. I mean, I've seen Landmark using some drum mags on a vector, but what's more interesting is he's not using a suppressor,
Uh,
which is omega interesting, and I suspect because it heats up the high rate of fire, like both the 9 mil and the 45, he wasn't using a suppressor. I suspect
mm,
because of the high rate of fire, it just eats up that durability so much that you would be in that jam zone, either the below the 7% threshold or the overheating mechanic jam. So
yeah, because you'll
that's
eat into that
interesting.
durability like super fast. If you're using
Yeah,
something that's like, what's the is it 950? The 9 mil vector.
I think
Can't remember,
so.
but it's like insane fire rates, right? If you're using insane fire rate weapons, and the ammo makes much more difference than anything else, I think. Firstly on durability, but secondly on the heating. The heating thing is like so dependent upon the ammo. Like when you look at it, it's like as you said, right,
Really.
about the handguards, it's like, oh, it's like 2%, 3%, 4%,
Yeah.
whatever for all the different parts. You look at the ammo, and it's just like if you look at the good like 545 ammos, it's like 40, 50, 60, 70 for like BT. Um, BP, Golnik,
Mhm.
7M40, whatever. They're like all the way up here. Like it's
Hmm.
crazy. Like the ammo makes so much more difference. So yeah, if you're depends what you're using. I'm not sure if AP63 and has like a really high heating, but I imagine it probably does. And the same with the well, I don't know, I can't remember what they've called it now, but 7M31 and
Yeah.
the Meta 9 mil. I'm
Yeah.
sure that one probably also has like crazy heating. So then when you're
Yeah.
firing that out of the vector, that's nuts. Whereas like PS out of the 762 and the low rate of fire anywhere with that gun, it's like it's not as bad because it's kind of the base, some of the base rounds. I actually don't know what the stats are on PS. I need to look, but I know a lot of the 5.56 rounds have quite high.
Hmm.
They have quite high heating amounts too, so they really do push it up. There's one of the reasons why I ended up, even though it was semi-auto, it's one of the reasons why I ended up using ADAR in one of the tests, because it's like really burns through it. And I had to go up to BT for the AKs to really make it work. Like some of the lower ones don't really have that much of a problem. It's interesting. It's interesting. Well, yeah, no, it's a funny one. I don't know. Like, yeah, maybe see more. Maybe see more if you're using those guns. So that's the reason why Landmark's like not using suppressor. I think that does make sense.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's pretty cool because we're seeing a change potentially in like the meta. Like these high rate of fires are just not worth running. High rate of fire, high heating ammo is just not worth running a suppressor, which is pretty cool to see something being different, to the same old same old. But yeah, I was gonna say I wanted to hear from the audience. Like, have you guys? Okay, so A, have you had a jam? B, was it a scav gun? Matter of fact, if it was a scav gun, don't even include it. Like, I want to know if you've only like, have you ever had a jam yet? Because I kind of my thing about the 7% range is it almost makes all the work they did meaningless because you just never like we're gonna put this mechanic. By the way, this mechanic can be completely a non-issue if you just repair your gun after every raid or buy a new one. Like it just almost feels like it's a bit of a waste. You know what I mean? Like I almost dislike that 7% feature, oddly enough, but I don't
I'm
know.
not sure. I'm not sure. I think it's good. I think it's good. I think it could have been 5, honestly. I think it probably could have been 5. I think
Hmm.
5 would have been fine. But I just feel my gut instinct is that it does what it was supposed to do. That's the thing. For gameplay, it's like it does what it was supposed to do. It punishes people who are thrashing their guns and rewarding players who are more patient and take more control shots and like look after the weapons, that kind of thing. I think that's okay. It's for me, that's honestly fine. But it is a shame that so many people won't see some of the stuff. I don't know. Have you seen the YouTube? I can't remember what the guy's name is, but there's a YouTube channel. Maybe I'll just see if I can pull it up now. But basically, it's a dude who's like his channel is he's like had some old. He's had some like old videos like a while ago, but then hasn't posted anything for ages. And then he's basically posted like all of the guns and all of their malfunctions, and that's it. That's like his whole channel.
Huh.
And he's getting like 30 to 40k views video because they're actually kind of cool.
Yeah,
Um,
I've heard
what
the
is it?
animations are like just majestic to watch.
Yeah, he's called Cloud Rise. Cloud Rise. There's cloud like a cloud in the sky.
Hmm.
RYZE. And it's really cool, like because the dude, like some of them especially, you can actually tell how much work he's put into it, right? Because like the SV98, because basically he gets the gun to 0 durability. And so
Yeah.
the weapon then like jams on every like third shot or something. And he's got like the SV98 to like 0 durability. And he opens his inventory and it's just mags, 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 mags. Like, honestly, it's insane. It's actually insane. So and like on one of them, he's got like 9 minutes left in the raid. So he's literally been like shooting the gun, like bolt action for like
Crazy.
40 minutes or something. So the
The
dude deserves some props for
dedication.
that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But some of them are like really cool. I like looked through a handful of them. I'd say I've probably watched half of them. But things like, the RFB, where like they've put in the specific stuff for the RFB itself, where, it's like blocked, and then you have to like you do the thing and then you have to like shake the round out because it's like stuck in
Oh,
like the
that's so
bullpup
cool.
mechanism. And there's
Yeah.
like on the MDR where there's like one of them, there's like I think failure to feed, I think it was, or I can't remember which one, but
Hmm.
you like take off like the small panel at the back and like flicks the
Yeah.
round out and put the panel back on. It's like they must have spent so much time,
Yeah.
and that's the thing that like makes me love BSG. That's the kind of thing that makes me love them. It was absolutely not necessary. Nobody in the community asked for this feature, and they have spent an incredible amount of time working on
Yeah,
it
for sure.
just because it's their passion project and they love
Hmm.
it. And
Hmm.
anybody who doubts that, go and watch those jams. And these are some people who they love their guns and they love their games. You can tell, like, there's absolutely no need to punish themselves like that because it is an insane amount of work they've had to do for those.
Yeah.
And it is almost a bit of a shame that we won't get to see them in as much of like what you were saying, right? Those are the 7%, and most people won't see them, whatever. Because like some of the stuff when I was investigating the mechanics and actually looking at what they said was going to happen at various levels of this, like, yeah, you start to heat up, and then the barrel gets hot, and then you have like the heat haze, and then
Mhm.
you start to get the bad effects like the accuracy debuff because the barrel's like overheating and like I guess warping, whatever, or like it's just inconsistent because it's, I don't know, whatever. I'm not a gun guy really, but
Yeah, yeah.
I even had to look one of the things up because they were like, oh, it's there's a chance for cooking off, and I was like, I don't even know what that is. So I like looking it up, and I was just like, oh, okay, the weapon is like so hot, the round can just go off inside, and like yeah, and then that like happened to me a few times when I was like testing it, where like you reload in, and you as you're coming back down, the weapon just
I saw.
fires, like you didn't even
Yeah.
press the button, and you're like, dude, like the fact that they've included this stuff that like it's just
Pretty
crazy.
cool.
But
Yeah.
you have to be like hitting it so hard to make some of those problems occur. It even says in one of them that it changes on some of them. You get like fire rate changes, which I know can happen in some circumstances, but
Yeah.
by no means an expert. I don't know which weapons it happens to, and I don't really know what like the mechanism for that is. I haven't really researched it, but apparently they've even included that too. So I guess certain weapons either slow down or speed up depending on how they work when they get hot. Like, dude, it's crazy. Like, props to them for that, honestly. But yeah, check out that channel. Check out Cloudrise and his stuff because they're fun to watch. Like, I enjoyed watching them. They're all like 40 seconds long to a minute long or something. So if you just want to like look at some kind of nerd over some proper gun porn stuff, then that's the place to go. It's cool.
Cool. Yeah, shout out to Cloud Rice was the name. Was there any other thing you want to discuss? I know I kind of controlled the conversation there for a bit.
No, 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 that's completely fine. That's fine. The only so another tangential topic that I did want to note at the end because I spoke about it last time a little bit, and I
Mhm.
have done a little bit more research, a little bit more.
Okay.
It was
Okay.
about the new 7N40 round.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so I was intrigued to see, and someone in chat rightly pointed out, well, what you have to do is just make a gun, make another gun, calculate the thing and see what you think it should be. And I was like, I was fairly confident that the minus, so this is all about, okay, so for anyone who missed what I was talking about last time, the new round for 545, which is effectively, it would be the meta round if you could actually buy it, which you can't, and it's not on the fleet, and you can't buy it from the traders, is the 740, which has 52 damage and 44 pen, which is very, very good. And it effectively makes it like a more damaging version of 55A1 for the
Mhm.
545 platform, and makes the 545 platform quite competitive because it has plus 50% accuracy for one, which is insane, and
Wow.
minus 20, and okay, and it has minus 20 recoil.
Sorry, did you say
Now,
plus 50%? 50?
correct. Yes, 50.
That's insane.
It's an insane round. It's actually an insane round. But the minus 20 recoil is a very niche. It's caused, I was going to say it's caused some arguments, but it's like about 3 people arguing in the YouTube comments on like one video. So it's not widespread, but I've been looking out and trying to see if anybody's been talking about it because the minus 20 recoil, I was fairly confident was
Mhm.
going to be like an attachment. We talked about this last time,
Yeah.
minus 20% on the base recoil of the weapon. And what I did, and I haven't fleshed this out completely yet, but what I
Okay.
did was I went and found the weapon with the worst recoil
Yeah,
when you
yeah.
strip everything off it, which is actually the AK-105, which I was quite surprised. All the other ones have 141 base or slightly better, and the AK-105 has 160 base. But I think it's because the muzzles by default are slightly better for that gun. Anyway, that aside, that means that effectively from that 160, you say, okay, well, I apply that 20%, and that ends up getting you an adjustment of, I think it was like 32, something like that. And so for that, the one that I actually ended up doing
Mhm.
was I made a weapon with 109 recoil
Yeah.
and used 7N40 in it, which took the recoil to 77 in my model.
Yes.
And then I built a gun with 77 recoil and used BP, which
Was
has
it
no modifier whatsoever.
was it the same gun, just different
It was
mods?
it was the AK-105,
Mhm.
both of them with different mods, both at 100%.
Okay. Cool.
One of them at 77
Yeah.
recoil with BP in it, so there's no modification. One at 109 with 7M40, which, if I was right, should go down to 77 as well. And the modded gun with BP had better recoil than the 7N40 weapon. I was like, I'm not right about this. I'm not right. Like, I'm wrong.
Wait. The gun. So yeah, they should have the same recoil, but
If
you
the 20% acts on
right
the
if
base
it
recoil,
worked and it didn't work,
and
essentially.
they should have the same recoil.
Yeah.
But the buff from 7M40 is less than I expect.
Well, what you need to do next, and you might have already done this, is a BP with 109 recoil and then a 7N40 with 109 recoil and compare the two.
Well, I did a quick other comparison, and I can't remember exactly which numbers I did because I was doing it quite quickly. But I made two weapons that were very similar. But I did it. I think I did it on 89 recoil instead, because if you took the 109 weapon and you just took 20 off, you get to 89. And then I made an 89 recoil weapon, and they like it. I think it's the same. I think that's the same recoil. So my preliminary research leads me to believe that on the ballistics page on the wiki, the number that says recoil percentage is wrong, and it should just be recoil. That's it, flat number. Maybe.
So I'm sorry, I'm very visual, so I'm trying to get this in my head. Your second test was what now?
My second test, basically, I did the same thing, but I assumed instead that 7M40
that it
gave
was
a
flat
negative 20.
Okay.
Instead of because 20% implies 32 actual points.
Right.
But instead I made it 12, like I shrunk the gap by 12. So I made it like minus 20 instead,
No,
flat.
I get you.
And that looked the same. It looked the same to me when I did it.
Okay.
So I think it might be a flat number. But I need to do some more research. And I need to use some other rounds. And I need to have a look at stuff. I was going to use US. I was going to try, but you can't buy 7.62 US until Prep War 3 or something. I was like, what?
I'm trying to. Let me pull up my video and see what I did. What I was trying to say is that the other test you should do is take two AKs that have the same stat, but just have one that has BP and the other that has 7N or 7. Is it 7N40? And see if
740,
there's and see if there's a difference. That would be the third test I would do.
Yes, they are different. They are different because I did 3 mags, and I did 1 mag with BP, 1 mag with this is actually even more preliminary. I did one with Igolnik, I did one with BP, and I did one with 7M40. And Igolnik was like up here, BP was in the middle, and 7M40 was down here. And the way I did it was I put it on full auto, and I did 2 round bursts. So I went bang bang, bang bang, bang bang, bang bang, bang bang. So I got one line of like me shooting the wall, and then the second round, and then me shooting the wall in the second round, and me shooting the wall in the second round. So I got like a clear line, and because of the horizontal recoil, it like they just all hit the same line like this. So you end up with like a band Igolnik, a band BP, a band 7M40. So it's working. It's definitely working. Whatever buff it is, and I think it might be a flat buff, which is quite surprising to me, honestly. Because it would mean it means in game it's actually correct because it says minus 20. Like all the other stuff, like if you look at armors and whatever, they say like minus X% ergo, minus X% move speed, minus X% turn speed. And then you look at this, it's like plus, plus this, plus that, plus the other, blah, 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 and recoil, it says minus 20. And that's it. There's no qualifier. So I never wanted to assume that the game was just correct. And it says percentage on the wiki, but I don't really know the answer.
My God.
I actually stopped by V's chat and was just like, "Hey, what do you think about this?" And he was like, "Oh, dude, I don't have no idea. It's too many these kind of things to really know." So he was like, "I don't know. Maybe I need to stop by NoFam or something. I'm not sure. I'm on a mission now to find out the answer to this."
I think I got rid of that video on my channel because it was so bad. That sucks. But someone commented on our last episode about this topic, and from Potato.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, they said, regarding the recoil stat on the 7N40, or any bullets for that matter, no food after midnight said on this stream that recoil stat on bullets didn't do anything except for Magnum Buck. He said he had to test ammo recoil this wipe though, and then in parentheses, also using US and comparing it to something like BP.
Interesting. Well, it definitely is working now. Within 545, at least. It's
Yeah,
definitely working.
I want to say I do recall Agonic working, but a lot of the other ones didn't. Like you couldn't tell.
I'll have to go and look.
It's a hard thing because I mean, I like your methodology because I did full auto, which the fault of that is I'm gonna get a lot of horizontal recoil, and it's like the comparison is really hard there. And I had them like each vertical slice or yeah, vertical slice side by side, slow down,
Yeah.
and yeah, like it really wasn't a good testing methodology, but yeah, that's it. Well, that means a lot because if it's flat, then that's even better for the fully modded AKs versus if you're just, a stock AK, it's like kind of crappy to run that in there. But for the
Well,
fully
yes and
modded
yeah.
ones, what the heck,
Yes and
dude?
no. It depends on which way, because there's like three ways that this could have worked, right? One, which is the way that I thought it would have worked, which actually meant that, and thinking about it logically, we talked about it last time a bit with like US, it might actually be stupid and not really make sense, right? If it's 30% of the base and you're on an AKM, like that's actually a huge number of fixed recoil points. If it works like an attachment, like that's actually an insane number. So you could end up getting
Yeah, it's
the AKs to
huge.
like zero recoil or something crazy just because it's such a big number. So that probably doesn't work that way. And then the other two ways that it could work is the fixed amounts is just knocks it off. That's that. That's that. Um, or the other way, which is that it's like separate, like the gun, as we said last time, the gun's in a box and it has a recoil number, and then it applies percentage to that
That's
afterwards, which would be unlike anything else works, but whatever. So it really depends. But yeah, I mean, it does make it kind of crazy because the video that I watched was it was Tiggs's video actually that sort of started me off on this
oh, really?
trend because he posted one with the min recoil AK, which was like
Uh-huh.
37 recoil or something, and was it like 38? I think it's like 38 recoil with like the new waffle maker thing, and he was
Yeah.
like, "This is now 18," and I was like, "Really? Is it like straight minus 20?" But I think he's right. I think he's right. So
That's
we'll see. I need some more testing.
insane.
That would make it 18 recoil, but I just like I
Ugh.
don't know. I haven't tested that myself, and like, is that right? Does it look like 18 recoil? I don't know because I haven't bought one and made one. So I need to do more. I do need to do more work.
Okay. Is that a potential video?
Yes.
Cool. I look forward to that because this topic has always like bothered me and interests me at the same time because it's like,
Mm,
man, we don't have the tools to do it, and it's not like I can just like, send a telegram to Nikita and be like, hey, could you look into this for me? It's just
yeah.
yeah,
So I'm kind of developing that testing methodology, and then we'll see. We'll see what happens. See if it works.
very cool. Some Tarkov science.
Yes.
Cool, man. Anything else you want to talk about before we
No, I
close?
think I think that's it. Other than just a public service announcement to craft your wires, guys. It's crazy out there, dude. You can buy two power cords, but it depends on when you get on. But like I bought like 40 this morning for like 17K or
Oh
something,
my god, that's a
like each.
steal.
And I've been selling wires between 25 and 28,000 rubles each.
What? They sell for
So
that much?
sometimes they go up there. So
Oh, the
like
peak hours. Yeah, I bet. Dude, that's
So earlier I sold a
crazy.
stack of 8 for 28K per thing, and I'm making like 200K per cycle of wires. It's mental.
That's
It's actually
insane.
mental. It's actually mental. It's very surprising how much stuff you need it for. 15 for generator 2, 5 for illumination, 2,
Yeah,
6 for illumination
there's
3, 8 for heating 3, 4 for security 3,
yeah,
14 for vents 3, 7 for rest space. And then it's like, then there's like all the trades. You can get like drum mags for the MP5. There's the weapons case barter, which needs 15. Like you can
yeah,
use it to craft corrugated hoses. It's in the craft for power cords, portable defibs, the power cords, which you need to do for the mechanic quest. Like a gas analyzer quest for like rip rounds. Like it's in everything.
yep.
It's crazy. So people are desperate for those wires. So in peak hours, that stuff is like sky highs. You can make a ton of money. I've made like probably most, like a good portion of it. It's probably 30% or 20 or 30% of my money has been from wires, I think. Usually it's good, but this wipe has gone completely crazy.
I've been
So
selling
yeah.
meds, like AI2s, meds, and wires in euros because there's a
I'm
weird bug. I don't know if it's a feature or bug, but I think have we talked about this before?
not sure if you talked about it on here, but I've seen Airwing's video on it.
Yeah, yes, you do. Yeah, there's like this weird thing where when it when you list something in euros or dollars, it's not a one-to-one version. in rubles, like as far as where it lands in the, lowest price
Yeah.
sorting, it sort of like skips a few thousand rubles in some cases. So you technically get more rubles than you should, or more euros, or whatever currency you're selling them for than you should technically. Like instead of just going to Skier and buying them, converting rubles to euros, if you sell something for euros, you potentially could get you do get more. I think it's like a 15% extra euros. Anyways, yeah, yeah, I've been doing that because it, dude, that feature's so weird to me, but yeah, it's a weird
It
one.
is weird. It's strange. It's basically like the flea market has a different like exchange rate than the trader
It's
themselves.
it could be an outdated one, I wonder.
Yeah. So it's like when it says, "Oh, I'm going to use whatever rate to convert it into rubles to do the sorting in the list,"
Right, right.
it uses a different rate, which means that you end up coming lower down the list than you should.
Yes.
Mm.
I guess higher in the list, and
Was it, yeah,
therefore
yeah, like more priority, like you're high
right.
priority in the list. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's a weird one, but, gotta get them euros to turn into Peacekeeper or whoever. What level are you, by the way?
Me, I am 21.
Okay. I think I'm 27, 26, 27.
I like
Oh.
struggled at 19. I got stuck at 19 for a bit and was just like busy and like couldn't play. And I was like so close. And I was like, oh, and I did like 1 or 2 dailies and was like 3K off or something. I was like, oh man. So like ticked over to level 20 last night. I think I finished one thing. And then I've just been like, right, upgrade the workbench, upgrade the water
Yeah,
collector, upgrade
yeah,
the lavatory, upgrade the nutrition unit. It's just
yeah.
like non-stop. So I've been upgrading like a ton of modules now that I'm at like 21. And it then meant that I could do gunsmith. So then I was just like, I just like
Mhm.
piled like 1.5 levels through to now I'm up to the RSAS one. So we'll see. So that got me like a ton of levels. So that's how I jumped from like 19 straight up through to like 20, like halfway through 21, because just unlocking like a bunch of those tasks and stuff. But I've got a ton of tasks to do. Um, I've not actually had as much time. Well, I was really hitting it hard at the beginning, and then like it slowed down a bit just because of like Christmas and family and whatever. Like had
Yeah.
people over and that kind of stuff, been away and whatnot. So not as much time, but it's okay. I feel okay, like being at 21 or whatever. I feel like for me, it's like pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm feeling strong, feeling positive, and I'm feeling like I'm happy now that I'm a mechanic too. Actually, I feel like I'm back on pace. For me, because I can be like a little bit behind and still just be like totally fine
Mhm.
as long as I'm doing the right stuff. But I think the big problem for me is that I still don't have a second flash drive because I just stopped looking for them and I just
Yeah.
haven't got one. So like can't do any of the Peacekeeper stuff, and some of his quests are quite easy. And then you just go to Shoreline over and over, and it's quite nice to combine with Punisher or whatever. But I was like,
Yes.
whatever, I'll just do Punisher on its own.
Oh, really?
Um,
Dang.
so, I, so I just like, because I don't have Peacekeeper,
Yeah, that sucks.
Peacekeeper's quest line, it's just like really annoying. So whatever, it's looking like I'm going to be crafting one of them flash drives for that guy. We'll see.
Man, that sucks. That's, like, such a setback, like, to wait that long because you gotta get yeah. That's the other thing, Vitality 3, why? I forget about this every wipe. Why is this still in here, man? Do I really have to go to Shoreline and run over barbed wire? Like, ugh.
I know that that's on my horizon.
Dude, I don't wanna do that, man. Like, I can't upgrade it's so annoying. I hate that so much.
Yeah, because
I did
yeah, I'm
I
like, bi- sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say I just hate cheesing, but I mean, I'll do it, but I just like, God, it's like such a better than playing 1,000 raids, and you're basically the goal is to get shot at. Like, what kinda I don't know. Anyways.
You just have to play factory a lot and get like magnum bucked in the
That's
face.
true,
Well, my leg.
that's true.
Yeah, you don't want to get shot in the face because then you hardly get any points. You want to take like a ton of damage.
Yeah, it's just, like, I would much rather be, like, help. I don't know. I'd just get rid of the skill thing, like, I don't know, just get rid of it, dude. I think it's so annoying. Ugh, so annoying.
Yeah, you already need levels. You already need like trader rep. You already need certain trade levels, whatever. It's like it's unnecessary. It's unnecessary. Like yeah, I'm on that grind now, which is the Intel Center 2 grind, where I'm like, okay, I've done security. Now I need to do nutrition. That's upgrading. Fine. Now I need med, but that means I actually need to get to therapist 3, which is 24, I think, level 24. So I'm not actually,
Something like that,
I need
yeah.
3 more levels. And then I need to get the vitality situation
So dumb,
down
dude.
as well. But at least it's quick to cheese. It's actually quite fast to cheese it
Is
to
it?
3. Yeah, it's quick. It's really quick. It's much quicker than sniper skill. Like sniper skill cheesing is just like
Yeah.
soul destroying. Like cheesing the vitality is pretty easy. So as long as you get left alone, you take a grizzly, you just like spin on the spot in the wire and just like,
Hmm.
and then when it goes red, then you like you lie down, you like wait for 5 minutes in a bush, and then just go straight back to it and spin round and round.
It's just
I got quite efficient at doing it, but you can do like it only takes like a couple of raids and it's finished.
yeah, boring.
I'm normally quite close by the time I get there. Like normally I'm probably halfway through like level 2 or something.
I think I
So
have
like, it's
one
not that
point.
bad.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just you know what they should do is have it a crafting skill level requirement because you're ideally most people are gonna be crafting already. So like I kind of see what they're going for. Like, okay, this is the health station, you need to have this skill because it makes sense because logic. But just having it as like a crafting skill, like, level 3 crafting, and then like the next, the next they could do that for like all the stations. Like you gotta use your hideout to be able to upgrade it. I don't know.
I don't know.
Anyways,
It's just one of those things. It's like if you make the thing too easy, then it's just pointless. If you make the thing too hard, it's just super annoying. It's like just get rid of it. You know what I mean? Like, do you,
that's
do
a
you
good
remember back in
point.
the day when you had to get like vents, when you had to do vents and you had to get strength up, and it was almost impossible to do strength before they made their
Oh
changes? Do you remember that?
yeah,
Like back in
yeah,
the day, and you had to
absolutely.
like throw grenades or like hit a friend in the
Yeah,
leg with a melee weapon and all this stupid stuff. Like, it's the
Stom.
same thing, right? It's the
That's
same thing. It was
literally
just
was
like it was
like
ridiculous.
throw every grenade you get. So you literally just get a grenade and just eat it. That nothing, it's like, oh, I gotta do this to progress. That was so silly.
Yeah.
Um,
So
there was one other thing I was gonna ask you. Oh, I don't really get to do a lot of my dailies unless they're turn-ins. I just feel like they're too much of a time sink or that, or they're not on the right map that I wanna like, they're not on shoreline, or the ones that were was, like, take the Boda extract, and
I had a lot of that one.
it's like, it's like either I don't have a quest down there or it's, like, so out of the way from my path, like anyways, I've been finding weeklies to be so much more doable for my current playtime and schedule. I don't know about yourself, but it's just like yeah, like, I had one that was, like, turn in 7 smoke grenades and 15 flash grenades. Like, okay, I can craft the flash grenades, and then I can just spam interchange in my scav and try to like loot all the grenade boxes and get smoke grenades. And I got it in time. But the dailies have just been like, if I don't have the item for turn in, I just like I accept them and then never get them done.
Interesting. Yeah, I found my weeklies have been kind of annoying. I had one which was something that was craftable and then also like find 7 USBs, and I was like, can I be bothered to go and like find 7 USB like plugs?
Oh,
This is like so annoying.
filing cabinets,
Um,
Giga.
yeah, I know, but I've got to like actually go and do a lot of it. This is the thing, and it's just like no. And then the next one, I was like, oh, I've got to kill Tagilla like 5 times. I was like, okay,
Oh,
well, I'm not going to do that.
what?
Just like
Yeah.
really, I've had some like really annoying ones,
Huh.
and yeah, but like
Interesting.
the PMC dailies, I just never do because it's usually just too many and never see enough people. I've had
Huh.
that customs use the boat extract. Like, I'm just not looking for PvP really right at this point either. But yeah, use the boat
Yeah,
extract
that's
on.
true.
I've had a bunch, and I'm like, do I really want to subject myself to that RNG? Like, I have to have the boat extract for a
Yeah.
start, so I need to be on
Yeah.
the right side of the map, and then it might not be active. Like it's not always
Right.
up, right?
Right.
And so I'm like, well, what is it? I don't know. Is it 50%? So it's 50%, and then but the right side of the map's 50%. So then it's like what? Then it's like a quarter chance, and then there's a potential that I need to run it like 8 times. Like, dude, I'm going to do that for like 2k XP. It's crazy. I'll just do an
Yeah.
actual quest. Like it's just there's no point.
Doesn't really make
Killing
sense.
scouts, I don't mind, but
Hmm.
I've definitely slowed down on the dailies a bit just because like I was cracking through a lot of them before because um I was playing a lot and I had the time to do it. But then like given that I've like scaled back a little, I
Hmm.
found myself doing a lot less of them and doing more of the
Hmm.
structured quests to do specific things to like try and increase particular people's reps or actually just get more XP because a lot of the decent normal quests are like 10k,
Yeah, they're
12k,
pretty good.
8k. Whereas the data is like 2, so you go, is it really
Yeah.
worth it? Am I going to kill 5 PMCs on this one specific map? And it's usually like woods or something. I'm like, dude, I'm just going to hemorrhage money doing this as well. Like, is that really what I want to spend my time doing? Like, I'm not sure. So yeah, I don't know. I've been doing less of them as well, I think. But I think that's fine. You just like pick and choose, and it gives you something else to do. You look at it and go, okay, maybe I could do that. I like
Yeah.
the variability. I think it's fine. I think like at worst you lose nothing, you just have them, and then at best you get to like do a bunch of them, and they kind of drive you to interesting places and things. So it's yeah, I think it's fine. But I agree that I've been doing definitely less of them so far. But my weeklies have just been annoying.
Okay. Yeah, I
Doing
can't.
like 5 times, really.
I think I had. Yeah, that one's insane. I think I had like kill like, some PMCs like 7 or 10 or something, and I managed to get that done. I can't remember what the other one was, but the low level ones are like super easy, which I was glad.
Mm.
But yeah, like now I'm thinking about it, especially those specific extract ones. Like if they get one where it's like as you get higher up in the levels, take pure boat 5 times for a daily. I'm like, what? Like, is because I'm pretty sure I gotten one that was like you only had to do it once, like take pure boat once. So it's like, okay, maybe I get
Yeah.
lucky. But if it's like starts increasing, then it's like, oh my god, this is a grind. Anyways, cool, man. All right, we went for another 2-hour podcast as per usual now. So, dude,
Oh
Tarkov is
dear,
just so much to talk about.
so much.
Such a great time to be playing Tarkov and involved currently.
It actually is. It actually is. It's super fun.
Yeah.
Even this week with like less like news, but with all drops, loads of people on, like tons of people just like talking about the game and whatnot, people getting back into it and stuff. Like it's a good time. It's a good time for the community.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I think we're gonna wrap it up here, guys. Thanks everyone for tuning in as always. Appreciate the support and um yeah, the comments as always. Someone was like they made a comment and they were like, "Oh, I gotta disagree with you here, guys. Sorry." And then the next paragraph, I was like, I gotta disagree with you guys here. And then the last one was like, "All right, guys, I really love you guys, I really do, but I disagree." It's like, but but yeah, guys, don't be afraid to jump in those comments and disagree because um yeah, no
Yeah, that's
no
what it's
hard
all
fit.
about, you know.
Yeah, for sure,
We're
for
definitely
sure.
not always right, you know. We're definitely not
Yeah,
always right.
for sure. And I need you, Giga, to call me out on my bullshit more because I know I'm a bullshitter. So make sure you call me out on my bullshitter. I'm putting it on you. It's not on me. It's your responsibility.
Oh, I don't know. I feel like it's okay. I feel like
No,
it's fine.
sometimes I notice like I feel like I'm kind of like, well, there was that one time we were talking about the KS-23 or something, and I was like, oh, grasping at anything to make this argument stand. Oh my god, what can I throw in here? I can't remember. It wasn't like anything extreme, but I kind of like reflecting. I was like, I might have been bullshitting a bit. Anyways, thanks again, guys, for tuning in. Love you, appreciate you, and we will see you on the next episode.
Absolutely. And happy new year to all of you. Catch you later.